When I started working with ServiceNow, I began to hear and read all about things like ITSM and ITIL. And like any good developer, I just nodded my head confidently, as though I knew exactly what those things were, and I had no idea.
I'm nodding yes, but no, not really.
But since then, I've learned it's really not all that complicated, and in this video, I'm going to teach you just enough to be dangerous about ITSM and ITIL. Some of the keywords to watch for in this video include ITSM and ITIL, service offering, service management, service relationship, the service value system, and the service value chain. By the way, I'm Jeff from ServiceNow Simple, where we're trying to help people understand the ins and outs of ServiceNow and lots of related topics with a focus on keeping things as simple as possible. And I'm super glad that you're here, and I hope that you'll consider subscribing to the channel because it's awesome. Now, let's jump into it. ITSM and ITIL. We'll start with some definitions. First, ITSM, which is an acronym for Information Technology Service Management. Let's break that down. Information technology, or IT, you can think of that as hardware and software and the related processes and workflows that go along with it. So in your home, for example, your IT would be things like your computer and your mobile phone, your tablet, maybe a gaming device, a router, and a printer, and all the software that runs on those devices to make them useful. In a corporate environment, you can think of all of that stuff, plus everything that goes along with the entire IT department, like the staff, and the development projects, data centers, and all of those related processes and workflows. Okay, so what about service? Information technology service. Well, in the world of ITSM, everything your IT stuff does to provide some sort of value is considered a service. So, in a home situation, you might use your computer to do budgeting, and send and receive emails, browse the internet, and play games. Those would all be examples of services that your IT stuff is providing you. And in a company, you'd have many more different services that provide value to the company, like scheduling maybe, or accounting, marketing and sales, even IT-based digital products that you might be providing to your customers. All sorts of things depend on IT. So we have information technology services. And finally, management. This is the people part, the stuff we do to make sure that our IT services are meeting the mark, that they're delivering the expected solution and providing the greatest possible value. So in a nutshell, ITSM is the discipline or activity or stuff you do to make sure that for your organization, whether it's your household or some multi-billion-dollar corporation, that your investment in IT is delivering the right services, providing the maximum amount of value. And as companies become more and more dependent upon IT services, which they are, there's less and less room for mistakes, which means we have to get IT and IT services right. We have to constantly be working to get better at doing it, at doing IT.
Oh, okay. I see what you did there.
So what do we do when we want to get better at something? Normally we practice and we try different things and we learn from our past experiences. We ask friends, we read books. If I want to bake a tasty cake, for example, I don't just guess the type and the amount of ingredients. I go to a recipe, something that's worked for someone else in the past. And in business, those types of guidelines or instructions are called best practices. And that's what the IT Infrastructure Library is, or ITIL. ITIL is a published set of best practices for doing IT well. It's essentially a recipe book for cooking up tasty IT services, a corporate computing cookbook.
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
The first version of the ITIL best practices was published by Great Britain's Central Computing and Telecommunications Agency way back in 1989. And they worked closely with a British company named Axelos. And the Axelos website still publishes the most recent information all about ITSM and ITIL, including the current version of the library, which is called ITIL 4, was published in 2019. Okay, so now that we know what it is, let's talk about some of the concepts and recommendations that are published as part of the ITIL. And we'll start with value. ITSM and ITIL are all about value, how to maximize the value gained from information technology. Within ITIL, they talk a lot about how value should be co-created, meaning that an exchange should occur within which both sides benefit from the exchange. If you think of examples throughout history and even in your own life where one group is always producing some value for another group and there's never any reciprocation of value back, those situations don't usually last long or work well. They point that out clearly throughout all of the ITIL best practices. They also talk about the difference between outputs and outcomes. Outputs you can think of as the deliverables that come from some activity or service. Outcomes, on the other hand, measure the usefulness of the outputs. So, might deliver some process or service that produces the exact outputs it's designed to produce. But if those outputs don't match the needs of the problem to be solved or the opportunity at hand, then the outcome of my outputs will be less than optimal, and that's not good. They also distinguish between the concepts of utility and warranty. Utility you can think of as what something does, kind of like how it's utilized or its intended purpose. Warranty is more about how it does it. So, is it high quality? And is it secure? Is it safe? Can you count on it? Or is it dependable? Again, I can build a wonderful service that provides the desired outcomes, but if it's not dependable and it only works 25% of the time, or if it's unsafe or insecure to use, then we're not going to be very successful. In order for a service to be highly valuable, it needs to score high in both utility and warranty. There are also some service-related terms that we should talk about. So at least we've heard them and understand a bit of the IT lingo.
Yeah, gold member, I don't speak freaky deaky Dutch. Okay, perv boy?
We've already talked about the fact that ITSM defines everything that information technology does to produce value as services. They define a service more formally as the co-creation of value by facilitating outcomes customers want to achieve without them having to manage the specific costs and risks. So lots of words there. In that last sentence, the cost and risks part threw me for a bit. Here's an example of what a service is and what a service isn't. If I take a ride in a taxi and on the way to my destination the taxi breaks down, all I have to do as the customer of the service is sit and wait for someone to provide me with another taxi to take me the rest of the way. I don't have to worry about repairing the vehicle or deal with the cost and hassle of getting the vehicle towed and operating again. Those costs and risks are outside of my domain as the consumer of the transportation service. That's what they mean by not having to manage specific costs and risks. Service offering is another term you're going to be hearing about. A service offering is defined as one or more services that are designed to address the particular needs of a group of people. And they usually involve the exchange of goods, access to some resources, or the delivery of some service action. So let's talk through each of those. With an exchange of goods, an example would be if I go to a coffee shop. They make me a delicious cup of coffee, and I pay them, and they give me the coffee. It's an exchange of goods. An example of a service offering that delivers access to some resource would be if I go to and buy a ticket to go into a theater and watch a movie. I've bought access to that resource, but I haven't bought the movie or the movie theater. And for a service action-based offering, an example would be someone wants their yard mowed, I go and mow the yard for them. That's a service offering that delivers a service action. Service management is another term that you're going to see in ITIL. It's defined as a set of specialized organizational capabilities that enable value for customers in the form of services And finally, a service relationship. And that's what happens when the exchange occurs. It's the cooperation that results between a service provider and a service consumer. Now, let's review just a few people-based concepts that are mentioned in ITIL, starting with an organization, which they define as a person or group of people that has its own functions with responsibilities, authorities, and relationships to achieve some objective. And they make the point that organizations are almost always both the providers and consumers of services. So if we go back to that taxi cab example, the taxi cab company is a consumer of services provided by automobile dealerships and mechanics, maintenance shops, and filling stations. And at the same time, they are the provider of their transportation service, where they take me from point A to point B. And then ITIL further defines a set of more specific service consumer roles, including customer, user, and sponsor. Customer is defined as the entity that defines the service requirements and understands the big picture view regarding the need for the service. A user is defined as the actual person that's using the service, and a sponsor is the one who's ultimately responsible for approving the purchase of the service relationship. And if I haven't made your head hurt yet, let's talk about ITIL's service value system.
Oh boy, here we go.
This is the machinery that ITIL includes in its best practices that do the work of converting opportunities and demand into value. In my head, I picture a scary large machine with a conveyor belt accepting opportunities and demands in on one end and spitting services and value out the other. And this machine or system is made up of 5 components that have to work together in order to efficiently and effectively create value with IT. It starts with guiding principles, which are a set of recommendations and approaches that help the process work properly, get things right. We'll go through those in a bit. Then there's governance, or rules that are enforced related to how IT should be used. Next, the service value chain, which is at the heart of the service value system, and it makes it all go. And we'll walk through the links on that chain here in just a second. Practices, which are things that we do to produce useful work. So these are like the tools we have in our toolbox for providing value. And last, a shout out for the need of continual improvement, so that as we iterate through this system and we learn from our past experiences, we're always striving to get better at providing valuable services with IT. And at the heart of this service value system, we have the service value chain, which is a set of activities that must work together in order to keep things moving and create value. It includes the activity of developing a plan or plans to ensure that there's a common understanding of the demand and the opportunity that's coming in. We also need to define the improvement or the benefit that's going to come from the service. So the activity of answering the question, how will the delivery of this service positively impact the business, provide value to the company? The design and transition activity, which ensures that the expectations are met with particular attention being paid to quality, cost, and time to market. We have to actively engage and assemble the right stakeholders, build good relationships within the team. We have to obtain and build. This is where we get hands-on with the components we need to produce and deliver the service, whether we're building them or purchasing them. We need to deliver and support, or put the service out there and make sure that it's available and that it meets expectations. And finally, if we do all of these activities correctly, the system delivers the products and services that provide the value, meet the need of the original demand and opportunities. All right then, let's wrap this up with a quick rundown of the 7 ITIL guiding principles. And again, you can think of these as a set of recommendations and approaches based upon past experiences and lessons learned that should be used as we operate this service value system. The first being focus on value. Remember, everything we do within this effort should have a traceable link to providing some defined value. If you can't draw a fairly straight line between what you're doing and the value it's going to provide, we should probably reevaluate what we're doing and why we're doing it. Start where you are. Don't just stop doing the things you're doing well. Don't scrap everything and start over. Start where you are and improve from there. Progress iteratively with feedback. Don't try and do everything at once. Break things down into smaller, manageable components that drip out value. Then get feedback, make changes, and build upon what you've delivered until you reach the desired result. Collaborate and promote visibility by working together, involving the right people, keeping stakeholders in the loop, and learning from each other. Think and work holistically. It's okay to specialize in things if you're good at them, but be willing to step out of your comfort zone and seek to understand the big picture and take on different roles as they're needed. Keep it simple, my favorite principle. Be as efficient as you can and operate under the mindset that in most cases, the simplest way is usually the best way. Oh, and don't try to solve problems that don't exist yet. Just tackle those as they come. And finally, optimize and automate. Make things operate as effectively as they need to, and understand that good enough is usually good enough. And look to use technology as much as possible to manage tasks that technology can manage, freeing people up to do other, more intellectually demanding activities. And that's it. A fairly robust overview of ITSM and ITIL, if I do say so myself. And if this sounds like a bunch of fluffy terms and fancy diagrams for things that you might think are pretty common sense, I would say that you're probably right. But that doesn't mean that it's not useful. I think the value that comes from ITSM and ITIL is the fact that it makes us pause and think a bit, deliberately, about what we're doing as IT professionals and how we're doing it, and consider the possibility that there just might be a better way. And remember, this was just a quick overview. There's tons of information out there about ITIL and ITSM, which are powerful concepts that entire careers are built around. In fact, there are several certification paths that can be taken specifically on ITIL and ITSM to gain certifications if you're interested in moving your career in that direction. I'll include a link to that Axelos website in the description of this video in case you're interested in learning more about ITIL and ITSM. As always, I appreciate your attention and thanks for watching the video. We'd love a thumbs up, consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.